Hey guys, Sidney Diongzon here, and today we're going to take a look at this really cool slider called the ROV Pro by Rhino Gear. So we're going to take a look at the physical attributes of the slider, then I'm going to show you how it works, and then finally we're going to talk about who I think this slider is for. So what exactly is this thing? Well, basically this is a motorized slider that can hold your mirrorless DSLR or production camera, even your mobile phone, if you want to produce those really smooth looking slider shots. The build quality of the slider is actually really good. It's pretty sturdy. It's a pretty strong aluminum wrapped around with a little bit of plastic, but overall it looks pretty solid. The cool thing about the ROV Pro slider is that everything that you need is right here in front of me. So you can lay this flat on a table, or if you want to mount this slider on a tripod, there is a 3/8 thread as well as a 1/4-20 thread. And if you are traveling somewhere and you want to place the slider on some bricks or some rocks, if you're hiking somewhere, then on the side of the slider are some legs that you can adjust by unlocking it, like so, and you can adjust it to any height you want, and the same thing on the other side. The really cool thing about having these legs on the slider is that if you have a camera setup that is too front heavy, then you won't have to worry about the slider tipping over. And to close it back up, you just flip, return it back to its original position, and boom ka-chow. Here is the base plate of the slider where you can mount a ball head to attach your camera to. Rhino Gear does send you a couple of ball heads for you to choose from. One for your DSLR or mirrorless camera, right here with a normal 1/4-20 thread. And what's really cool about this ball head is that here's this little button that you push to release. And then you just take the little plate and then screw it into your camera. And it even has a little handle to help you, screw it in. And so that's pretty cool. That's so thoughtful. There is another mount for mobile phones that comes with the ROV Pro. I don't know where it is, but it does come with it. And to mount the ball head onto the slider is actually pretty easy. Here is the 3/8 thread. You just gotta screw it in. Done. The drive system of the ROV Pro is based on this rubber belt. This really helps produce really smooth shots, especially when you're ramping towards the end of your sliding movement. I'll show you that in a second. But to turn it on is simply push and hold this button until it turns blue. There you go. Whoa. Once it's on, you'll know because the power button will be blinking blue. And if you want to see how much battery power there is left on the slider, just push the power button once. And you'll see several LED power indicators over here to the side. Below the power button are two ports. One is a USB port for charging, and the other is a port for your shutter cable to connect to your camera for time lapses. So now I'm gonna show you how this slider works, and it's actually pretty cool. So the ROV Pro is actually controlled by your mobile device via Bluetooth and by downloading their ROV Motion app. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn the slider on, make sure Bluetooth is on your mobile device, open up the ROV Motion app, and then you're gonna see two options. One for your DSLR or mirrorless camera, and the other one if you're using your mobile device as a camera. We're gonna go with the camera connection, so click on that. So right off the bat, there are several options, and one of the first things that you'll notice is the duration option, which says 21 seconds by default. That 21 seconds is actually the travel time that'll take the base of your slider to move from one side to the other. So let's just start with 21 seconds so you can see how the slider moves. And on the bottom right of the screen, you'll see the button that says start. Just press start, and how cool is that? You can also stop in the middle of your sliding movement. There's also a button on the screen where it says move to home, and if you push that button, it'll take the base back to where it started. Or conversely, if you want to move it to the other end and start from right to left, then push move to end. So let's go ahead and change the duration of the slider. So I'm gonna swipe down to go to 8 seconds. And so 8 seconds is going to be the travel time that'll take the slider to move the base plate all the way to the other side. So that'll be a very fast movement. So here's what it looks like. Press start. Pretty cool. And so now let's go ahead and swipe up to its maximum, which is 28 seconds. And here we go. Pretty cool. On the right of the duration number is a setting called ramp. And basically what that is it's pretty much how the slider starts and how the slider ends. And right now it's set it to 50%. And so if I raise it to 100%, that should give me a much smoother ending and beginning. So let's go ahead and start it out. So notice how it had a gradual start. And then as it's coming towards the end, it's ramping down. Beautiful. This is perfect if you don't want to have those abrupt stops when you have those sliding shots. Having a smooth ramp is also helpful if you want to do looping sliding shots if you're doing an interview. In fact, there is a looping option within the app. And so let's go ahead and turn that on and let's see how it works. Okay, here we go. Probably should have set it to 8 seconds just to show you, but it's too late. I'm already committed. I'm halfway there. It's like watching every season from Smallville. Like the first 3 were pretty good, but you know, 5 and 6 is like, ugh, just end it already. Here we go, slowing down. And here we go, starting back up. That's loop. And also, if you want to move quickly from the left or the right, on the top left and right of your screen will be 2 options. One that says move to home, which will go back to home, and one that says move to end. And that way, if you want to start from left or from right, you can quickly go to that end. If you look at the very top of the screen where it says live motion, there is a drop down button. And if you tap on that, there is an option for time lapse. So here you can make your appropriate settings if you want to do time lapses, like on a street, or if you want to do the sky, whatever you want. Just make your appropriate adjustments over there. Connect your camera to the slider by using the shutter cable, and you're pretty much good to go. The neat thing about the slider and the app is that if you are doing a time lapse that might take, I don't know, 40 minutes, you don't want to be standing next to the slider for 40 minutes with your phone on. You want to be able to just set it and just walk away. Once you've made your time-lapse settings, you can actually press start, turn off the app, and even turn off Bluetooth. And your slider will continue with whatever adjustments that you made in the app. Set it, forget it. And of course, you can hop back onto the app and resume controlling the slider. So cool. So cool. And of course, there are a lot of options if you decide to use your mobile phone onto the slider. The settings on the phone options are really cool. They kind of remind me of Filmic Pro. So just adjust your settings as you would and just start filming. Okay, so some pros and cons. Well, I love that everything is built into the slider. I've had sliders before where you had to adjust motors onto the side of the slider, or your only option was to mount it onto a tripod. I like the fact that legs come with the tripod, and they're actually really good legs. And I have a pretty heavy lens. I have the Sony 24-70 G Master lens with my A7 III body. And some sliders that I use, it definitely tips over because that lens is so front heavy. But with the legs on the ROV Pro and my camera setup, it's never tipped over. And so if you have a somewhat weighty camera setup like a 1DX Mark II with a 24-70, or even a GH5 with a Sigma 18-35 lens, which is also a very front heavy lens, that's not gonna tip over. Obviously, if you're gonna attach like a 70-200 onto the slider, that will probably tip over, but why would you do that? The slider can probably hold heavier setups like a Sony FS5 or Canon C200, but I'm gonna test out the payload of the slider by attaching something that no other tech reviewer has ever done before. Hit me! The simple design of the slider is very attractive, and it's very compact, so I can actually slide this into my backpack. But not only does it have a really sleek design, but it's very easy to use. Easy to turn on, easy to charge, easy to unmount the legs to place it anywhere or to attach it to a tripod. And even the Road Motion app is really easy to use. The biggest thing I don't like about this slider is the little dip on the plate. And so that's probably because it's meant for the ball heads that come with the ROV Pro sliders. But if you have your own ball head, you won't be able to attach it over here unless you buy some adapter to mount on top of the thread and then put your ball head on top of that. But for my type of setup, the ball head that comes with the ROV Pro does just fine. The other thing I wish that this slider had was a physical button to control the slider. Yes, using the app is pretty easy, but what if I don't want to use the app? It'd be pretty cool if there was a button to move it left and right, or even on the power button, if you tap it twice, it'll go right, and tap it 3 times, it'll go left. But again, that's just me. And lastly, while the ball head is actually pretty good, I just wish there was a motorized pan tilt option for us to get separately. That'd be pretty cool, but something to think about. So who do I think this is for? Well, obviously this is good for studio work. So if you want to do B-roll of a product, it's really good for that. But also I really think it's great for travel filmmakers. You can slip this into your backpack quite easily or into your luggage. And if you're hiking on a mountain or you're at the desert, just plant this baby on any surface by using the legs or on a tripod if you wish, and then film your shots. There are 2 versions of the slider. The ROV Pro Everyday, which is the one I'm holding right now, has 8 inches of travel length, and there is a bigger version called the ROV Pro Travel, ROV Pro Travel, and that has a 16-inch travel length. The everyday slider costs $400 US, while the travel slider costs $450, so $50 difference. There are some pretty cool accessories for the ROV Pro sliders. There is the everyday travel backpack that you can slip the slider into. There is the Rhino Gear tripod, the variable ND filter, and even a mic for your phone. So if you're digging these sliders and you want to get one for yourself, then you can actually get 10% off by clicking on the link below and using promo code Sidney10. 10% off. 10% off. 10% off. You're welcome. Woo! Whoa, I probably shouldn't do that. Okay, I gotta go, but if you have any questions about filmmaking or camera gear, then let me know in the comments below. I love interacting with you guys. And thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.